muscles, their financial muscles by assisting in.
Good day, and thanks for being here for the People's Advocate Hour. This is Attorney Joseph Bryan, and if you have any questions for us today, please give us a call at 888-565-1470. So let's just talk about what's been going on today. Noted that Obama doesn't have a plan. I think he does. I think his plan is to be unclear. Personally, this is my review of the circumstances is this is a 50-year war we're heading into. We're out to fight an ideology. This isn't just about shooting people in a foxhole or going after individuals who are running the show. This is the same tree of Islam that wants radical change in the world that they live in. They're not out for the democratic values the Western worlds that we live in want. They're out to bring totalitarianism based upon severe enforcement of their version of Sharia law being Islamic law. And their goals and their ideology doesn't require an organization, just requires someone to preach it. It's going to require education. People are talking about what's going on in ISIS this and ISIS that. But I think it's very clear that ISIS is just one more example, more extreme example of Al-Qaeda. No less extreme than Hamas, no less extreme than the Muslim Brotherhood or the Islamic Jihad. And I suspect that we're going to have lots of different organizations stick their heads up. ISIS is just the current version. And we can expect that they will have another organization over the next 10 or 20 years as we beat down ISIS. Another one will stick its head up. It may stick its head up in Pakistan. It may pick its head up in northern India. It may pick up its head in Malaysia. Wherever there's Muslims, there are extremist views that believe that total submission to their version of Islamic law is the way of the future. So sit back and relax. This is a 50-year war. Back when 9/11 happened, both myself and my prior guest, Imad Salem, both knew in 93, 94 that the attack on the World Trade Center wasn't over. It had been identified as a goal by the Muslims who follow a more extreme version of the world. And we knew, Ahmad knew, I knew, anybody that understands Islamists and their philosophies knew that they weren't going to be satisfied with a failed attempt, that they were going to keep on coming back until they brought down the towers. Did I expect, September the 11th for that to happen? Absolutely not. Was I surprised when it happened? No. Was I shocked that they took two airlines and rammed them into the towers to bring them down? Heck yeah. I hadn't planned for that. But then again, I wasn't working for the FBI and wasn't aware that some crazies were studying to fly planes. If I had known that, I would have put two and two together real quick. Only because I've lived throughout the Middle East. Like the reporter, I too had made Aliyah and had lived in Israel and learned the language and got to know the discourse that exists in the Middle East where it comes to non-believers of the Islamist faith. Imad and I have had a lot of conversations. Imad Salem, the other gentleman, has been on our show a lot of times, and Imad has made it very clear his view on his religion and his view on those that have been hijacking his religion to make it a trap for fools. And quite candidly, any of these idiots that convert to Islam in this country and then just go running over there on jihad, yeah, they're idiots. They're worthless tools of people who have manipulated them. It's the reality of the circumstances. Unfortunately, this is the reality of many youth who are disillusioned in America, can't find their way, look for a structure. Quite candidly, Islam is full of structure. And are easily manipulated once they create this new faith. Listen, I've known people who have become born again Christians who, have gotten ardently against women's choice when it comes to abortion. It's no different than somebody that finds God, and then people around them can manipulate them and twist them with arguments that this is what God said. Well, I don't know. I mean, did you say it or did God say it? If God was saying it, there'd be a burning bush, wouldn't there? I don't know. But once again, this is a 50-year war. If you ever want to go ahead and read a book, Beyond Terror by Ralph Peters, he's often on television giving his expertise. He's originally from the American War College. He's the one that's back in shortly after 9/11 came up with an article that said basically the choice is that you engage these crazies now, or you wait till they have weapons of mass destruction. Unfortunately, one of the sets of crazies are the imams of Iran, and we can expect that they'll have a nuclear bomb sometime in the next 6 months to a year, because I think Obama wants them to get a bomb because he's doing very little to stop them and doing everything to give them the time necessary for them to develop it. The Israelis know it. I think most of the Americans of any intelligence know it. The Iranians are demanding it. I mean, listen, in January, the religious leader of Iran said that all these negotiations are solely about delaying enough time so that they can get the nuclear bomb. The minor difference between them and the United States is the United States could use the bomb under extreme circumstances. I don't think it'd take extreme circumstances for the Iranians to use the bomb because they are into destruction. They like it. They've helped fund the Palestinian cause and take great pride in the fact that they kill people. Quite candidly, I'm surprised that they take great offense to ISIS, except for the fact that Iranians are Shiite and Sunnis are Sunnis. And ISIS is a Sunni organization, so therefore there's a conflict of religion there. Otherwise, their value systems aren't that far apart, They persecute Christians in Iran, and yes, they execute Christians in Iran. They don't want you to convert from Islam to Christianity. And if you do, there's a fatwa out there that says you get executed. They'll hang you in a public soccer arena in Tehran, just to show what happens when you decide to relieve the religion. You decide that it's not a very friendly religion for you and you don't want it anymore. You better leave, because you can't stay in Iran and convert to Christianity without being executed. I don't see much difference with ISIS. It turns out that they didn't torture him enough to find out that he was an American who took on Israeli citizenship. So Sadoff was killed just because he was an American. They didn't even know he was a Jew. Didn't even know he fasted for Yom Kippur last year. No, these ISIS guys, they're just into the brutality for the brutality effects. And quite candidly, this is the history of Islam. If you ever study history, you'll find that there's been waves of marauders like ISIS who have their weird and wicked ideas of what Islam is supposed to be about. Their totalitarian regimes cross over. Anybody that doesn't agree with them of their own religion, they kill. And it's easier for them to kill people that are not of their religion. Heck, there's stories of towns of 30 and 40 and 50,000 executed because they didn't fake being Muslims enough in Spain when it was taken over by the Muslims. The history of violence at the hands of Islamists is a history that goes back before the Middle Ages, before the Dark Ages of Europe. So they like to compare themselves to the Christian Crusades and the Catholic Church, and then its fight with Protestantism, and then its fight with Lutheranism. And yes, these were very brutal and violent and evil stuff. And of course, we know Vlad the Impaler, who tried to stop the Muslim hordes from crossing Hungary and the areas of Romania, and would stick these Muslims up on pikes to show that the Europeans were just as vile and vindictive and evil, just like the Islamists of ISIS, Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood. You know, listen, you guys want to support, you liberals out there, you want to support Hamas, you want to support the Palestinians, then get ready to give up your rights, because they're coming here to take away your rights here. If you go to Bethlehem, the Christians have left. As a majority have left. Why? Because they don't have any rights under Muslim rule. And corruption is rampant throughout the Middle East. You know, we may not like the way Lois Lerner is corrupt and worked with various Democratic Party members, hopefully not the presidential office, hopefully not the White House. We'll find out once we get a chance to look at her emails that she said, I lost. But that kind of corruption, you know, pretty much I can live with and work with. We have the criminal justice, and once we get rid of the current government in 2016, hopefully we'll get a more clean attorney general who wants to enforce the law, and we'll find somebody out there saying, Lois, guess what, man, you're indicted. You know, because a woman like her deserves to spend the last 20 years of her life in an orange outfit in a federal penitentiary, with defrocked of her lovely pension that she's supposed to get. You know, scum is scum. If you're going to go ahead and use your position for political will within the IRS, not only do you deserve to lose your pension and any of your retirement, but you should be spending some good period of time. I think 20 years sounds about right, considering the powerful position that she used and abused. But that won't happen under the current administration. That won't happen under the current Attorney General, because he's already indicated, I'm an activist Attorney General. What that means is that he works for the left, and if you work against the right, he'll cover your rear end. He's not going to bring charges against Lois Lerner, even though she's apparently a criminal. I think that charges should be brought against her. Candidly speaking, if this was the 1820s, I'd expect that she'd get tarred and feathered and taken out of town on a rail. Not that I'm suggesting it, although I wouldn't mind somebody doing some virtual reality stuff and showing us a video of her being tarred and feathered and taken out of town. Would make me feel better. At least I get a chuckle out of it. Wouldn't you? You know, it was really funny. I saw somebody who had the cojones, the chutzpah, the personal power to actually put a thing that says, abolish the IRS. You know, I just hope that nobody working for the IRS takes down their tag and decides to order an audit on them. But abolishing the IRS, I don't know, but bringing it down to size would be good. You know, if we could just change the tax system and take away all these craziness and reduce it all down to 15%. Everybody takes 15% of whatever they make and they give it to the federal government. And anything that involves federal, they can go ahead and put on a value-added tax just like every other country in the world, so that if you want to spend your money, you can also pay a little extra tax towards the benefit of the world we live in. But I'm definitely not in favor of the existing tax code or the way in which taxes are collected and the overall understanding of the U.S. Treasury Department's power above all power. The truth of the matter is that we don't believe in debtor prisons, but yet we put people like what was that lovely actor, the guy that the Wesley Snipes, great entertaining actor for me. Not a girl's movie, but definitely a guy's movie. And what did he do? 4 years after paying all the money that they said he should have paid because he had bad advice from some schmuck who's also doing 10 or 15 years in jail for giving bad accounting advice. Of course, he gave a lot of other people bad advice. You know, Wesley wanted to pay all the money that was owed, including all the interest, and even wrote a check for it. That didn't stop the federal government from throwing him in jail for several years. And quite candidly, that's just wrong. You know, they got paid. You know, they could have charged him for the cost of litigating. They could have reached out. It wasn't that he didn't want to pay. He just didn't want to do jail. Unfortunately, they didn't give him the option of paying. They wanted him to go to jail because he listened to somebody who gave him bad advice. Oops. And when they said that, no, you're wrong, you can't do it this way, he wanted to argue because he had a guy telling him this was good advice. You know, apparently it was bad advice. It was some accountant out of Tampa, some sort of scoundrel. We have a few scoundrels here in South Florida, Rothstein, and we have a few scoundrels up in Tampa. I forget this gentleman's name. I wouldn't call him a gentleman, considering he got Wesley to do a few years in jail for giving him bad advice and setting up structures that the federal government under the IRS thought it was bad. No, what do you call it? Lois Lerner had nothing to do with sending Wesley Snipes to jail. But it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to negotiate his way out of that. Once again, I guess if he'd been a friend of our good old Obama, he probably would have gotten a slide. But once again, he's not. He's actually a very conservative man for conservative politics. So we have an Obama saying he just doesn't know what to do. And the truth of the matter is that's really actually smart of him to say that, because the truth is that nobody in their right mind really knows what to do. When you have a 50-year war, you're just going to take it piece by piece by piece. And you know that once they've knocked the head off of the snake and ISIS is gone, they're going to have to deal with Iran. By then, they'll have the nuclear bomb, and Obama will have succeeded in, once again, being an ineffective ruler of the free world, and have allowed a group of people who don't respect life, don't respect individual rights, unless you're a Shiite, and then it's another story. Listen, with all due respect, they call him a kafir. And that's what they call a non-believer in the Arab world. And also it's a derogatory term in South Africa for black people. They don't have any respect for him. As a matter of fact, the Saudis have no respect for our government. They're not even interested in dealing with the United States on any level. They're pretty much making their own plans with their backdoor relationships with Israel, hoping that Israel will save their butt, because they know the United States won't. I don't know if you guys noticed, but supposedly two drones allegedly owned by the Israelis were brought down, one near the Baghdad and one near the nuclear power plants in Iran. And I'd be really shocked if we get to December and the Israelis haven't decided to move forward with their plans, because quite candidly, there's no other choice. The United States is giving a lot of lip service. That's the one thing I do like about Obama. He does talk nice. If I was gay, I'd think I'd like to marry him, because he's cute. He talks nice, says everything I want to hear. Gosh, when was the last time a girl said everything I wanted to hear? But Obama does. He says all the right things, but he doesn't do anything. He basically talks the talk. All I remember is he promised to have a very open White House. Transparency, non-existent. Once again, he made all sorts of promises to everybody. Black Americans are going to take care of you. Gay Americans are going to take care of you. Well, we did see some changes occur. We do see American homosexuals getting married. Pretty soon, we're going to have it so that you can marry your dog. I think that'll be cool. You get this guy, and he's got a great relationship with his dog, and his German Shepherd and him go up to the peace, just the peace, and they get married too. Because heck, bestiologists should have rights too, right? What you do at the privacy of your home should be in the privacy of your home. That's what I understand. So. Anyways, people out there today, the traffic is heavy. I hope you're having a good time driving there, listening to me talk. Anyways, listen, in a few moments, we're going to go on a break. And we're going to come back in, and we're going to talk about some of the letters that came in, some of the things that were said. We had some interesting responses to poor Imad. They don't really like him out there. I don't know why. He's a very pleasant person. But we'll go over some of the emails that came in and some of the things that were discussed. And we're coming back from break in just a few moments. Once again, this is the People's Advocate Hour. If you have any questions or any comments, or you want to give me a hard time, give us a call at 888-565-1470. I'm here for the fun of it. Watch us on live stream at wwnradio.com, and you can see my handsome self sitting here talking to you live on 1470.
Are you losing sleep at night due to your debt situation? Call attorney Joseph Bryan today to sit down for a free consultation to discuss your rights. The People's Advocate is the trade name of the Bryan Law Group. The People's Advocate provides services to individuals and small businesses in bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sales, loan modifications, debt relief, consumer law, and estate planning in the South Florida area. Your initial consultation is free of charge. Proudly serving the South Florida community for over 21 years, Attorney Joseph Bryan will listen to your concerns and discuss options available to you. For more information, please call the People's Advocate at 888-828-9008. That's 888-828-9008. You are listening to the People's Advocate Hour with South Florida attorney Joseph Bryant. He keeps you informed about your rights when it comes to bankruptcy or foreclosure and wants you to be part of his show. Call 888-565-1470 and help him help you get informed. Now, back to our show.
Well, thank you for coming back. This is the People's Advocate Hour. If you want to give us a call and make a comment, ask us a question, we're available at 888-565-1470. We're live streaming on 1470 AM, and we can also be watched and looked at and videotaped if you want on wwnnradio.com. I don't know why you'd want to see a picture of me, but I understand that I'm delightful to watch as much as I am to listen to. And if you didn't catch the sarcasm there, that's okay. I also am a fan of Lois Lerner only because given the opportunity to hate somebody at the IRS, it's good to have somebody like her. Anyways, quite candidly, as IRS agents go, she's nowhere near the most attractive one out there. However, unfortunately, she's pled the fifth, even though she's denied any culpability whatsoever, thereby violating her rights to claim the fifth. So I think she should be brought down. But once again, as we said earlier, not under this watch, because our activist attorney general means that if it's part of the left or you're taking care of the left, they don't like you. And they don't want you to be bothered with. They don't want to bring charges against you. So you can be pretty much sure that Lois will at least skirt herself until 2016. Come February of 2017, if we have a Republican running the show, I would assume that she would be looking at going to jail and them asking for some $20 or $30 million in bonds so that she can stay there. Anyways. Quite candidly, I doubt she's going to run because she honestly thinks that she was right. That's the other thing that she's going to claim. I did the right thing, bringing down these right-wingers. Well, it's true, but remember, Lois, right-wingers have guns. It's kind of cool because I've gotten this lefty that wrote us an email arguing that Ahmad is a traitor to his people. And that he's misrepresenting the evilness of the Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas. Specifically, this person seems to be a lover of the Palestinian cause from the comments that they were making. And one of the questions was, how can Ahmad live with himself betraying his people? And, I can tell you right now that Ahmad has said that he's not betraying his people. Matter of fact, he likes multiculturalism. He likes the openness of America. He's hoping the same will come to his country, where 10% of the population is Christian and frightened, and less than 1% are Jews and terrified. And if you don't believe in the views of the Muslim Brotherhood, you had no future while they were in government. And he has great hopes for his country to become multicultural, more so than any other Middle Eastern country. It's one of the largest Sunni countries in the world, and it's probably got the most amount of rights. Although you do generally see girls running around with hijabs, and you see women on TV with the big stuff on, and, some of the ones are wearing the full garment. And some of those are guys, by the way. You just can't tell. How can you tell? There's a big black robe hanging over the top, and all you can see is the eyes. I mean, he may have pretty eyes, too. But the reality is that this is a multicultural society where people actually don't necessarily have to dress up in Muslim garb to go to work and to have a professional career. Not everybody is limited. Those that are limited the most, the women that are limited the most, are the poor. And that's quite candidly throughout the Middle East. They want to keep women down. In Hamas, they want to keep the women down. In most Muslim countries, they want to keep, the Palestinian Authority wants to keep their women down, except for the ones they can't keep control of because they have political aspirations. Quite candidly speaking, the feminists in the United States that are, jumping for joy for the Muslim rights, forget about the fact that they have none under the Sharia law. Like I said, as long as you don't show anybody where the beatings are happening, it's okay to beat your wife in the Islamic world. Just don't make it a public issue, and don't embarrass the wife by making it so that she has bruises where people can see them. quite candidly, this comes from a book that's being published in Toronto, Canada. So if you're telling me that I'm a racist, a fascist, and all this kind of good stuff, it's okay. I'm only repeating what's out there. I'm not repeating with something that I'm coming up with. These are ideas that are presented in a book on how to beat your wife. It's written. It's published in Canada. If you want, we can go ahead and order it for you, so you can learn how to be a good wife beater. That's one of the benefits. Think about it, guys out there. If we do go ahead and submit ourselves to Sharia law and convert to Islam, they won't bomb us. Well, maybe not. They might still bomb us because we may not follow their specific version of Sharia law, and we may not be good enough, and they may bomb us anyways. But you never know. Look at the bright side. All those guys that keep on getting arrested for not beating their wives but being accused of beating their wives, a nice Muslim officer could come to the door and say, well, I don't see any bruises. She probably had it coming anyways. You know what they say in northern Syria, where the ISIS is involved? They say, what do you tell a nice Muslim woman with two black eyes? Nothing. We've already hit her twice. Anyways, not nice at all, but this is the reality. The reality is the culture of ISIS is contrary to the culture of the Western world. It is a philosophy. It is going to be coming here in a much bigger way. There are many radical Muslims in the United States who have already indicated that they want to bring Sharia law to the United States, and that means subjugating you to Sharia law. That doesn't mean that you get to go ahead and praise Jesus in any public setting. And quite candidly, if ISIS comes here, they're going to start blowing up all the churches, because those are idolaters. You guys got, idols with Jesus in them? It's got to be blown up and knocked down. That's what they're doing throughout the areas that they're taking control of. Ultimately speaking, if there's a idol, if there's a statue in your church has to come down. But that's good. The Presbyterians are very much supportive of these Muslim viewpoints, and that's why they're boycotting all Israeli companies, because they don't want to do business with Israelis who have the same morals and ethical standards of the Americans. They'd rather support the underdog, i.e. the Palestinians, who basically are chasing out the Christians from out the Palestinian Authority on the West Bank, and quite candidly are subjugating and making the Christian community in Gaza has to pay to stay. Most everybody that's Christian faith and most everybody that's part of the Christian church in Gaza, if they could get out, got out. So quite candidly, if you're a person of Christian faith, quite candidly, there's no future for you under Sharia law. And quite candidly, if you're a right-wing person and you go ahead and decide not to go ahead and follow up with the elections and allow very few, less than a third of the country, to choose the next president in this specific election, choose the next senators and congressmen, then you can expect to get a more left-leaning government who doesn't have necessarily a laissez-faire attitude, except when it comes to international politics. So there's that. All right, so we also had another email come in for me, and it was that a person has coming to the end of a show, and what happened is at the end of the show they wanted to know, what will I do next after doing a radio show? Well, I think I'm going to TV. You never know. Might go to TV. Might go on to a syndicated column show. We never know. But it's all possible. And also the second question person is that I'm towards the end of my foreclosure process, and I don't know what to do. Well, if your financial situation has changed, or your debt situation has changed, you could consider doing a loan modification before you end up getting to a sale date. If that doesn't look good and a modification doesn't seem like an answer, if you owe hundreds of thousands of dollars more than your property is worth still today, then you might want to consider it a short sale. Keep in mind that things are changing out there. West Palm Beach doesn't like to cancel the sale dates without cooperation from the plaintiff, i.e. the lender. So if you're not in the process and have a good working relationship with the lender, then there's not much you can do if you don't get moving on it early. Broward and Dade County are more interested in canceling sale dates if there's something that's being processed, and they're more likely to cancel your sale date and get you more time to process a loan modification or a short sale. The nice thing about a short sale is it reduces your exposure, but there are issues in the short sale you have to take into consideration, such as the fact is if you have a second mortgage, the promissory note has to be satisfied one way or the other, and that means that you may end up having to pay a little bit of money towards the second mortgage out of your pocket in order to get released from that loan altogether. I've seen situations where the property sold for $450,000. The first mortgage was $550,000. The second mortgage was $185,000. And they're not going to accept $6,000 on a $185,000 promissory note for the second mortgage. They're going to want to see some more money. So you may end up having to spend $20,000 or $40,000 of that $180,000 satisfying the second mortgage. Hopefully you're in the position to do that. Sometimes they accept promissory notes. You never know. Once again, we're going to go to break right now. This is the People's Advocate Hour. If you want to give us a call in at 888-565-1470, give us a call. Once again, this is the People's Advocate Hour. Joseph Bryan. Thank you very much.
Are you losing sleep at night due to your debt situation? Call attorney Joseph Bryan today to sit down for a free consultation to discuss your rights. The People's Advocate is the trade name of the Bryan Law Group. The People's Advocate provides services to individuals and small businesses in bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sales, loan modifications, debt relief, consumer law, and estate planning in the South Florida area. Your initial consultation is free of charge. Proudly serving the South Florida community for over 21 years, Attorney Joseph Bryan will listen to your concerns and discuss options available to you. For more information, please call the People's Advocate at 888-828-9008. That's 888-828-9008. You are listening to the People's Advocate Hour with South Florida attorney Joseph Bryan. He keeps you informed about your rights when it comes to bankruptcy or foreclosure and wants you to be part of his show. Call 888-565-1470 and help him help you get informed. Now, back to our show.
I hope so. Okay, well, we're back here today. This is the People's Advocate Hour. My name is Attorney Joseph Bryan. The Bryan Law Group is my law firm, and in my firm, I represent people and small businesses on various issues from taxes to foreclosure, bankruptcy issues. Sometimes we're dealing with people buying and selling real estate. Sometimes we've got people buying and selling businesses, leverage buyouts, various different things. Once again, at our firm, we give a free consultation so that somebody can come in and discuss the issues that they're concerned about and to get some feedback, sometimes some strategic advice, sometimes some direction, and often a lot of hope. You know, I've had lots of people come in to me. I've had, a matter of fact, earlier this week, I had somebody come in and you could just see from their body language, they were so oppressed and so fearful. And I wouldn't say that they were dancing out the door, but I definitely know that they were much more relaxed. The pressure seemed to have been lifted from their shoulders because knowledge is power. And sitting there not knowing what your options are and what you can do and what they can do. You know, I've heard of collection agencies saying, we're going to go garnish your bank account and take money from your job. Well, do they have a judgment? Do they have an order of the court? Do they know what they're doing? You know, people on the phone can say whatever they want, and often they say lots of things that aren't true. Some of them are violations of the Fair Debt Collection Act, but they don't care. Because a lot of people who work in that industry have what's called unfair trade practices. And that's why going and talking to a lawyer and learning about what your rights are and what you can and cannot do. Once you sign a document and you've agreed to something, well, you're part of a contractual relationship, and if you've given them the rights to do things, yeah, they got the rights to do things. But unless you just sign something that says you can go garnish my account and take the money from this account, they can't do it without a court order. And they can go ahead and put a lien on a piece of property and all that sort of stuff, but they still have to get the judge to okay it. You still have the right to go back and fight. You know, you got to keep this in mind. And so once again, it's always best to go talk to a competent attorney and see what's going on. Knowledge is power. And quite candidly, hiding in the corner, having sleepless nights, getting frustrated, getting angry, getting scared, crying. Well, crying's good for you. It's good to cry. But it's a good release. But the reality is that you'd be better off laughing. Especially when somebody calls you on the phone and you know your rights and you know that they're talking crap, and you get to laugh and going, you know, I was going to talk to you, but you know, since you're talking crap, I ain't going to talk to you no more, because you know I don't need to talk to people who are lying to me. So keep that in mind. I'm not the only attorney out there. By the way, I understand that there's close to 25,000 attorneys in Broward and Dade alone. So lots of attorneys out there to talk to. You know, there's more attorneys than there are bartenders. That's sad, because I think we need more bartenders. Now, then again, there are some lawyers out there that are also bartending on the side. So you never know, you might be able to get two things for the price of a drink and some good legal advice from your bartender. Just make sure he's got his bar number. We wouldn't want him to get into trouble for the unlicensed practice of law. Anyways, yes, with all the schools out there producing attorneys, there's more and more attorneys out there, but there's never enough good ones. So keep that in mind when choosing who you talk to. Just because your friend says they're good doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about. Check them out. Talk to them yourself. See if they know what they're talking about. Do a little research yourself. Make sure that you go in there a little bit more educated so that you get some good questions answered. You know, it's terrible when you walk out the door and realize, oh, I should have asked that guy another question. Anyways, once again, picking the right lawyer makes all the difference in life. Picking the wrong lawyers makes all the difference in life. You know, I've watched several people had bad attorneys and bad advice, and some of them have gone to jail. All those people that used to listen to the advice of Rothstein, and all those people that trusted Rothstein. And matter of fact, he paid for his reputation. You know, he had some really nice cars, though. I guess that's a good reason to choose a lawyer. He's got a nice car. I don't think so. I think that a good attorney is one that sits down with you, listens to your problems, takes into consideration what is best for you, advises you about different choices that you may have. And sometimes they can help you and sometimes they can't. And if a good attorney knows when it's time to pass you on to somebody who can do a better job for you. I'm not frightened of that. I have lots of great experts out there that I sometimes turn them to for a civil rights case. I don't really want to do a civil rights case because, generally speaking, I want to have somebody that all they do is civil rights, because they are the ones that are on top of the law. They have the forms, they have the experience, they have connections, and they have the respect. You know, you go to a personal injury attorney and all he does is settle. The insurance companies know this person is not a litigating attorney, and they know that he's going to settle for less, and they offer him less. They keep a whole file on attorneys that are involved in the personal injury industry. And if you don't have a personal injury attorney that's filing 4 to 12 lawsuits a year, he probably isn't worth his weight, because he won't be able to get a settlement from the insurer that's remarkable, because they're not frightened of him. They know that he's going to take what he can get and run. Keep that in mind. You need to pick a good attorney, and you need to evaluate him. Choosing the right attorney is a big thing, and the People's Advocate's all about that. I don't refer you to people that I don't trust, and if I don't have somebody that I trust, I'm not referring you. I'll give you a couple of names that I'll look for and evaluate on my own, but if I don't have the experience to know that that person's a good attorney, I'm not going to refer you, because I don't want to have the reputation for passing you on to somebody that doesn't take care of you. I do. I take care of all my clients. I hope your attorneys out there that are listening, you take care of your clients and you listen to their needs. And for those out there that are just worried about the buck, well, there you go. That's pretty obvious to most everybody when they walk in the door and the first thing you do is hand them a contract. They know what you're about. They know that you're about making money, not about taking care of the customer. And customer service is important. Do they return your phone calls, or do you have to call 3 or 4 times? Anybody that has to call their attorney 3 or 4 times without a return phone call back, you got the wrong guy. It's time to drop kick him to the curb and go get an attorney who knows how to give customer service. Anyways, I have another email in here from somebody named Ali Abdel. I can't read his last name. And he wanted to let us know that God willing, we will learn our lessons in the future. I don't know. What kind of lessons are you going to teach us? How to dance? how to waterboard. I understand that ISIS is good at waterboarding. Maybe they'll teach us how to do a good waterboarding. I don't know. I wonder if they learned from the Americans how to do the waterboarding, or did they already invent that themselves? Shocking. Waterboarding. Torture. Sounds like the Middle Ages. Sounds like Islam during the 11th and 12th century. I don't know. Sounds like the Inquisition under the Catholic Church. I bet you they did waterboarding in the Catholic Church back in the Inquisition. I don't know. What do you think? Anybody think that waterboarding is torture? I think the rack is torture. Pulling your toenails out is torture. You know, cutting you. Acid baths. Sounds like torture to me. It's for some people out there who is a little weird, because it is South Florida, and they probably think it's fun, depending if you're on the receiving end. You know what the difference between a sadist and a masochist is? Well, a masochist says, hit me, and the sadist says no. Sadist doesn't want you to have any fun. Anyways, all right, well, the show is coming to a quick end as we move it along, and let's talk about some of the interesting things that are going on. Well, we're looking at a reduction in all these big mills out there. The foreclosure companies are beginning to close down. The personal injury companies that opened up a bankruptcy department are winding out. Bankruptcies are down substantially this year, I think 12 or 15%. Fewer and fewer foreclosures are being filed. As of right now, Broward County has a 5% unemployment rate according to the manipulated statistics that are presented to us in the marketplace. And the price of properties are, in some cases, is up as much as 25% this year. 18 seems to be pretty comfortable across the board. And one would say that our economy is on the upswing. And I would say that for the time being, I think the economy is on the upswing. And I hope that the naysayers out there that are promising us a downswing at the end of 2015, that they're wrong. Hopefully that this is the end of it and we're going to move ahead. But I think we got a lot of problems out there. We've got an economy in Europe that is fluctuating, and I don't know if it's going to be able to pull it off. And with it being one of our big trading partners, if they start to have a recession, it may affect us. It would appear that the real estate bubble that existed before, it doesn't exist now. However, that it appears from what I'm seeing is that there's very few consumer buyers out there and still a lot of investor buyers out there. And that concerns me, because until that changes, until the ability to get a personal mortgage becomes easier and more people can go ahead and seek financing, can seek financing, I think that we're not living in a real economy. I think that a good reason why the prices have gone up is because a lot of the REOs, which is bank-owned land and real estate, is not being sold to the consumer. It's being sold wholesale to the hedge funds, and they're where they'll have 2,000 or 3,000 properties in the REO, they're only going to put out 100 to 200 properties in any given time. So they're still manipulating the flow of real estate to gain more and higher prices. It's very clear that they've begun to ask for more and more higher prices, and the market is beginning to agree with them and let them get the higher prices, because investors are looking at how much they can rent the property out for, or how much they can fix it up and flip it for. And it's still a very lucrative investment market. That's why there's such organizations as DREA and Masters Real Estate Investment Association. These are all different organizations that are out there that are there to teach you how to buy and sell properties in the marketplace. But you'll hear when you go and talk to these people that the market is not as sweet as it should be. That it's harder and harder to find properties. And that often the short sales that are out there are already under contract before they even hit the MLS. So once again, the marketplace is what it is, and I'm very concerned that our economy is not a real economy, but an economy based upon cheap money that was put forth by the Federal Reserve, which is now reducing it. Once again, cash is king. Save, save, save. I know that the American economy is based upon spending, but quite candidly, nobody cares when you don't have any money. And if you can't afford to spend, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to file for bankruptcy? Well, you can give me a call, 954-320-6940. This is the People's Advocate Hour, and this is Joseph Bryan, attorney at large. I'm here for you. If you need any help, call us or give us a call. We're here to give you a free consultation to review your circumstances and give you a good, solid suggestion as to what to do in the future. Once again, if you want to have an appointment with me at the office, it's 954-320-6940. We're conveniently located in South Broward, off of Hollywood and 95, where you can easily get to us and sit down and get your issues handled. It's been a pleasure helping you here on the People's Advocate Hour and providing you information. It's been entertaining to discuss the world as we live it. Quite candidly, it's interesting to watch the world go into entropy as we get more and more conflicts. Anyways, once again, thank you very much. This is the People's Advocate Hour. And when you get a chance, take a look at our webpage at wwnnradio.com. You can watch all of our shows. Once again, if you need a free consultation on your business matter, your real estate matter, on your financial circumstances, you feel that your rights are being violated, you feel like you have needs to know what your rights are, we're there for you. You know, one of the cool things is when you come to visit me, I've taken the time to put up the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence, so that when you come to our office, it's almost like you get a chance to go to the National Archives and look at the documents that brought about this great country of ours. Because the United States is the greatest country in the world. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter who the Attorney General is. It doesn't matter if Lois Lerner still keeps her job and runs the IRS. It's the people of the United States. We, the people of the United States of America. Love you. Wish you the best. Have a great day.
You have been listening to the People's Advocate Hour with attorney Joseph Bryan. Join attorney Joseph Bryan next week on the People's Advocate as you need to know your rights when it comes to bankruptcy or foreclosure. You can also contact our office at 954-889-7443 for a free consultation. The opinions expressed